Welcome to episode 5 of the Welsh Beast Show. And joining me today to discuss the recent Wrexham news and what's been happening with Wrexham AFC the last couple of weeks is the host of the Racecourse Ramble, Matt Jones. Matt, how are you going? Thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted to be back. I'm
Well,
the first
sure
person to come back twice, am I?
You're pleading, weren't you? I almost got an injunction. I thought about an injunction, but I thought, no, we won't do that. But Matt knows all the rumours and gossip because he starts most of them himself and sells them.
I'm not sure about that. Love it.
But so the game this week was called off. Were you going?
Support Vale, no, because it was an earlier kickoff. It was a 7 o'clock kickoff, wasn't it? And because of the time I finished work, it would have been too much of a too much stress and hassle. You know, you've got to get the kids, you've got to get some food and all that. So we weren't going to go to Port Vale because if it would have been an 8 o'clock-ish, it might have been a bit easier. But I was following it through the day, like, you know, as soon as they put that announcement out, there was going to be a pitch inspection. I think everybody kind of knew, didn't they? And then there was pictures come around from Stoke area of like snow flurries, and I was like, yeah, that game's not going to be on, is it? So yeah, no, obviously they've moved it to, was it February, I think?
February the 4th.
February the 4th. But again, another 7 o'clock. So it's just a struggle for me, those Tuesdays at 7.
But it's now a long break for Wrexham. They've got some time off. Is it what we need? I'm sure they're going to make good use of this.
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, I'd get the lads in. Where do you go? Marbella or something, don't you? Is that where you go? Tenerife. Get them on the plane and get them to Tenerife and have some sunshine. Because I'm not sure how much training.
I think, what if it's only sunshine?
Yeah, but I'm not sure how much training you can do when it's like, you know, if the ground's frozen or there's a lot of snow on the training ground, they'll be doing gym work and swimming and that type of stuff. So, God, you know, but I think that they'd be better to go off and get in the sunshine. But they should take us with them. We could be the media associates for the week.
We hop along.
We'd sort them out, wouldn't we?
But I was just in today's leader. They were saying it's an opportunity to bring people back from illness and fitness. So they're going to work on the issues certain players have. I know it said George Evans was going to play.
He was
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him back. Did you go to the Crew game? Are you a fan of changing the team around and giving people an opportunity?
Oh yeah. If it's a competition that you're not bothered about, then I'm all for that. And you know, some of that, like that Virtue Trophy, we're not going to be bothered about it until we get to the final. Really, are we? Let's be honest. We won't get excited until then. So no, I'm game for that.
It's something to win. I think it's something I'd like to win now. Well, there's some good teams still left, but we're in it.
No, I get that. But I would use it to get the players back to fitness and give Val some time. And I don't know whether you'd give, would you give like Fletcher would you give Fletcher a start just to get some minutes into him rather than him just doing 20 minutes? Do you let Mullin play and get some goals? What about James Jones and some, you know, Boyle and Bolton and some of these guys? You know, you've got to give them some minutes because otherwise, when they come on, they're going to have no impact, Carl, are they? They're not going to be fit enough to have any impact. Then you're looking at them going, well, what good are you to us if you're not having any impact?
I think that's the idea. I think that's why they do it. It's nice to see some of these people get an opportunity. We still believe in. We know they've got so much to offer. They kind of lose their spot for a variety of reasons. And the squad is so strong now. Other people seem to have stepped up because, you know, Rathbone, I think, is a star player. Oh. And he seems to have stepped up around there. In the midfield, Georgie Evans started well, faded. Dobson is getting a bit of criticism. He's not as strong as he started off. His form has dipped, people are saying. So, but people are stepping up like Rathbone.
Yeah. I'll call it a transformation. The player that we saw in the first 4 or 5 performances compared to he's man of the match probably for me the last 3 or 4 games. I've lost count now. He's been out, and he's not even been close for me. He's been outstanding, you know. So it's transformation. You know, his transformation has been phenomenal, hasn't it? And him and Fletcher have been really driving us. If you think about the way Rathbone's playing in midfield and then Fletcher getting those late goals, without them, take them out, I'm not sure we'd have had the points that we've got, would we?
What did you make of the Christmas run-in? very intense, but I mean, good results overall. Came out of it with decent amount of points.
Yeah. So I was disappointed with the just prior to Christmas, the Cambridge and the Bristol games. I was disappointed with. Thought we should have had some more points out of them. So I was disappointed. I was at Barnsley. I don't know whether you were there or whether you watched that one. That was a
no. I didn't make. I was working. I was working afternoons. I had to work afternoons then.
So that was like a bad 20-minute spell, and then we couldn't get back, could we? Then we were too far behind. It was too big a job. So that was disappointing. There was just disappointing elements in the games, wasn't there? But I think, realistically, if you think about it, what were we expecting at the start of the season? Like, I predicted Wrexham to finish just outside the playoffs. I don't know where you thought we'd finish. I'm not sure if I asked you last time where you thought. But so you know we're third, are we now? Second, third. I've lost track. So in reality, we can't complain too much, can we?
No, I as usual, it was just survive.
Yes, I get it.
As we mentioned before, it's all become better than we expected. So we want more now.
And that's exactly, we've acclimatized much better. We're in a much better position. I'd be interested to know what, and we might see this on the documentary. What was that meeting like with Rob and Ryan at the start of the season? They're like, well, what do you think we can do, Phil? And he goes, what was his answer like? Did he go, I think we can fight for playoffs? Or did he go, well, we'll just be, if we're mid-table, we'll be all right? I'd be fascinated to understand what they're, because I don't think Rob would be having any of that. I think Rob would be going, bloody hell, hang on. Let me look at the accounts. Look at the wage bill. We should be winning this league, Phil. I'd love to have seen that bit of fly on the wall in that meeting.
Yeah, but he loves it. Well, he's proper into it, isn't he? Out of the two, they're both passionate and they've both put so much into it. But Rob is the one who really wants to go for it. I think he's more cautious, Reynolds, perhaps more business-like. That's what I get. He's Macklin and Rob is more like the fan.
He's the fan.
Just goes once he gets stuck in, the emotions overtake his common sense sometimes. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can imagine him being at his home, which fortunately, hopefully it's all right, because obviously he's not far from these wildfires that are in California. I can imagine him being at home after a game, like after that Barnsley game, and throwing things at the sofa, and then having to sort of phone up Phil Parkinson or whoever and have a nice conversation after he's chilled out a little bit. But at the time, you can imagine him pulling his hair out, can't you?
Yeah, I want to talk about Parkinson in a minute because his 1000th game just happened and the stats are amazing. But just touching on the owners again, it's all re-emerged some articles this week about the losses. I don't know if this is new information or people are just regurgitating it for hits. Is it Kieran Maguire?
Kieran Maguire, yeah.
He does the podcast, the Football Financial podcast.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called. But so the articles have now come out. They've lost. This prediction is 20 million.
Yeah.
That's what they've put in. But the value has increased so much, the club could be worth 30 million.
Yeah, that's his I think he put a tweet out at some point following it, if I remember it. That's what he was basically saying. He said that whatever the losses are, they won't be too concerned as long as they can afford, to keep it going. Their end game isn't. The reality is, football is not sustainable. People talk about everything being sustainable, don't they? It's like a buzzword, isn't it? Sustainability. Football clubs are only as sustainable as how rich your owners are and how much they can afford to lose. You don't make money in football. Forget it. So they will be running the club in a way that as long as they can afford to run it day to day, they won't be concerned. And their end goal will be to grow it and sell it. And that's where they'll get their profit back. And that's what he's trying to emphasize to people is that, they won't be, if it's a loss of 8 million at the moment or 10, whatever it is, they won't be concerned as long as they can keep, and they will be able to afford it because of the massive sponsorships that are coming in, won't they? That's the thing.
But placing a value of 30 million, which doesn't sound a lot, but I think we think where the club has come from in the last.
It wasn't worth 30p, was it?
Yeah. And I remember Liverpool was bought by John Henry for 300 million.
Right.
So you put that in comparison, they're worth a lot more now.
Oh, yeah.
Wrexham worth 30 million. I think that's a bargain. I think there's much more value there.
Yeah, I think it'd be. But he said. You're right. You're right. Exactly what you said. The captive audience that we've seemingly sort of got, if you think about it. But the key to it, and he says this is, it's worth more if Ryan and Rob are involved somehow. And that's the magic dust, isn't it? That's the thing. But I don't think it's something we'll have to worry about anyway for now, because I don't think they're going to give up. They're not going to give it up anyway, are they? Seemingly, there's no chat about it. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. All we're worried about is, are we going to get a brand new shiny striker in January, aren't we?
Yeah. And who's the latest one? What's his name? Is it Ryan Hardy from Plymouth? 2 million.
Every time I open my phone, you're either reading rumours or getting messages. Yesterday, ex-Plymouth striker Andre Gray was in Wicks, apparently, according to people on social. I said to somebody, well, he might have bumped, if he goes to B&Q, he might have bumped into Paul Rutherford, because obviously he works there now, doesn't he? So, it's that time of year, and I like it, I enjoy it. The players that we've been linked with, everything from daft ones like Patrick Bamford to Ryan Hardy to Sam Surridge to they're all there, and we'll sign somebody out of left field. None of us had even knew about, won't we? That's the way it happens.
But Bamford, pointless, I think. Now, I don't think for the money he'd require, what can he really bring to it? It's too much of a risk. And spending 2 million on a player, we're getting serious now. This is when you do lose money.
Yeah. So this is the thing that fascinates me. What we don't know is we don't know how much money. What's the budget? We don't know how much has he got. We're guessing, aren't we? He might only have $500,000. They might have said to him, "You can have $500,000." We don't know. But we're getting to the stage where if we want to get better, we are going to have to start to spend those sort of money, and that's, for a club like us, that's frightening. I mean, how many years did we go where we were giving a bag of bibs and a couple of cones for somebody, or go and buy 4-pack of Mars bars and we'll have a striker off you, And now we're on about paying. That article about Ryan Hardy was saying he had a £2 million release clause. I mean, it's bonkers, really, and it still have to shake my head and go, hang on, is this the same club? I don't know what's going on.
And that's what we go back to. It's where we all want more now, but just you can't be disappointed with what's happening and what's happened and where we are now. And if it becomes sustainable and there's no danger of financial problems, and that's always the risk.
Yeah, look at Reading. Reading is still in a mess. That fella won't let that club go. He's running it into the ground. They've got a transfer embargo. They can't sign any players. And I'm not sure whether the players are getting paid at the moment or what. So it's just there are some bad owners out there, and we're very lucky, aren't we? Still to this day.
But going back to the striker, I'm frustrated, surprised that we need to buy a striker. I think there should be enough there to get us over the line. There should be enough firepower with what's at the club already. Yes, you're going to get injuries, but there's enough cover.
Okay, so that's where we would disagree, because I thought we should have had another one in the summer. I think we needed I don't know how to word this nicely. I don't think we should be so reliant on Ollie Palmer as we are. And Wrexham tried very hard to get Michael Smith out of Sheffield Wednesday, and it wouldn't surprise me if we go back for him in January. He's a sort of
That's what I read today.
Yeah, he's 33, so he's sort of same age, but obviously he's just played at a higher level. But he's 6'4", that archetypal big man, should we call him, for want of a better word. I think that's the side. I think that's what he'll be looking at. It's just trying to get some fresh legs in there, because I don't think he trusts Mo Fowl yet, does he? He gives him such small bits at the end of games. I don't think he trusts him. He doesn't trust him to start a game, apart from those pointless trophy games, does he? So, so we're going to have to do something up front, aren't we?
You'd think so, but when you Fowl for $500,000, you'd expect him to be playing in two positions and washing the kits. So yeah,
I'm making the tea. I was going to say, yeah. No, I get that.
I again of losing too much, of risking money, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
He's young, he's got a future, but you think for $500,000, you're ready to go now.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've been at any of the trophy games that he's played in, Carl,
I was the Crew
or
one.
whether you've watched any.
I watched the Crew one. Yeah, that's the one I was there for Crew.
Right, that was the one he did the scissors. Was that the one he did the scissors kick, or was that a different game?
I can't remember now.
That might have been a different game. Right. But he doesn't look ready to me. Does he look ready to you? He looks very raw to me.
Yes, and I think when he came on the other week, was it? The second, when he came on, the playing towards the tech end.
Yeah.
He had a couple of brief moments, but he didn't seem to have any composure to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly think they bought him for next season, really. And because they didn't get some of their other targets, they've had to rely on him a little bit more than they'd have liked to. But obviously it's hard. I mean, we're trying to guess, aren't we? We weren't in those rooms when those decisions are made. But that's what it looks like from the outside when you watch him play. It looks like, to be honest, he could do with 6 months of football somewhere, at League 2 level or something again.
Well, that takes me to Sam Dalby.
Now
topic. Will he be recalled? He's better off where he is, if you ask me.
Yeah. So I've seen, obviously this has been the hot topic, Alex, since he scored the goal in the Derby game, and everyone's sort of bring him home, bring him back. I think there's a couple of elements to this. The first thing is and I'll ask you the question: if you were Sam Dalby, what would you want to do? Would you want to come back?
Well, not really. You want to stay where you are, doing well, getting all this sort of exposure, this
attention.
And it's been a success.
Yeah. So I don't think he even wants to come back, if I'm honest, because Parky won't say to him, "You're going to start every week," will he? He's not that type of. I don't think he's that type of manager. No. I think if he brought him back, he'd say, "You've got to earn the right to start, Sam." So I don't think Sam would necessarily want to come back unless he hates it there and it's freezing cold and the weather's crap and all that. But it's not much better here, is it? Let's be honest.
I was going to say, we know that God. But why would he come back when everything's going so well for him? I know he's in a different league and you can mock the Scottish, football leagues, but he's shown this. This is what we knew he was capable of. Yeah. And certainly when he replaced Mullin, was it at the end of a couple of seasons ago when he came in at the end? Did he get a few goals? And he was looking really sharp and effective.
He had half a season when he scored. It was the year we beat Coventry in the FA Cup and he got one of the goals. So what's that? Is that 2 years ago? I've lost track now. That's 2 years ago, isn't it? Yeah. 2 years ago. And that set him off and he was off on one then and he scored. He had a good run. I still think he's misprofiled. What I mean is, I don't actually think he's the big target man. I don't think that's his game, if I'm honest, Carl. I know he's 6'3" so you think, he should be the good big man. But I think he's actually better as playing. I think he'd actually be better playing alongside a big man, feeding him, because he's technically way better than we gave him ever credit for. So I don't think he'll come back. If Wrexham had any real inclination of getting him back, they'd have extended his deal before they sent him on loan. And you'd have used that loan just to fire him up. I think Wrexham wanted him off the books because they had no intention of ever using him again. I think they'd lost. They knew that it was too high a level for him now.
Yeah, well, were they hoping he could just? Did they see the talent there and hoping he can just rediscover it or discover it and bring that form back?
No, you'd have extended his contract before he went, because remember his contract ends in the summer.
Yeah.
So you'd have extended his contract before he went, and that would have been your announcement. We've extended his contract, and we've sent him on loan, but they didn't, and they haven't. So
which obviously would give us much more value now, wouldn't we? We'd be in a much better position. But if it didn't work out, you're then lumbered with a player on a long-term contract who's got no value.
It's hard to shift. That's that's the thing, isn't it? I think they'll be looking at a much higher caliber of player. I think, Carl, and I think he's got next to very little value on the balance sheet. So they will take a very small fee for him and move him on. If Dundee wanted to do it in January, rather than risking waiting until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dundee United.
Yeah.
I think they take the money now and they'd move him on because they'll be looking around Championship strikers, Carl. So, and Sam Dalby isn't a Championship striker, is he?
No, I think that's I think that's a suggestion that I've seen. Cash in now.
Yeah, but they won't get much.
And use it. Yeah.
But they won't get much. This is the thing, because obviously he can leave in the summer for nothing. His value on the balance sheet would be. I actually did an article about this on Patreon the other day for people who are on my Patreon. His value on the balance sheet would probably be 30 or 40,000 quid. So they'll just want to cover the basis. So Dundee haven't got the money to spend hundreds of thousands. So I reckon they would take a very small fee, get him off the books, because it's not worth their time worrying about negotiating to get rid of Sam Dalby. You need to be spending that time on bringing players in. So I think if he goes, it'll be for pittance.
Yeah, exactly. You're right there. There's much bigger fish to fry. There's a bigger job at hand, isn't there? And saying that, is it a 4-horse race for the two spots? I just feel too close, comfort.
Yeah, I think whoever finishes above Huddersfield will go up as in an auto space. Does that make sense? So
yes,
we're assuming. Yeah. I don't know if you're like me. I'm assuming Birmingham are going to get their act together and they're going to walk away with it in the end, right? So
I think everyone is,
right? Yeah, I think that is going to happen. So I've written that one spot off already, and I think whoever finishes above Huddersfield will get that second spot. They're going to be there or thereabout. They're the team. Have you seen? They're on a charge, aren't they? They're coming. Yeah. And don't be kidded, because Bolton are going to come as well, Carl. They're coming. Reading will come, but they've got a bit of off the field, so I don't know whether they can get. They're all starting to come now, these big sides, and they're all starting to spend money in January. Look, Bolton have just signed a classy midfielder from Peterborough. They reckon Bolton are trying to sign. Huddersfield are trying to sign a nearly £1 million striker off Huddersfield. So they're all getting their act together. They've all had the shuffle in the build-up to Christmas, and now they're all going to go with these big boys. And we've got to make a decision, haven't we? We've either got to go with them and spend some money, or we've got to accept and try and hang on. And that's going to be interesting to see.
Well, it's like I said, it's the second half now, and it's the finishing line is there. You're in that position where you can really up the ante and go for it. But hanging on is kind of what we're doing, aren't we? There's a level of consistency there that doesn't look pretty, but it's a level of consistency that's impressive.
Yeah, my concern has always been this: we defy the odds, don't we? The style of football that we play, and the fact that we're relying on Fletcher to come on for 20 minutes and get us out the trouble all the time. We're defying the odds. I'm concerned that won't last forever. So we need a bit of freshness and some fresh legs and a bit of class, so that we don't need to rely on Fletcher coming on for 20 minutes. Because with greatest respect, he shouldn't have to come on with 20 minutes and try and get us out of trouble, should he?
But he's becoming a bit of a star doing it.
He's unbelievable, though, isn't he?
40. He's a Premier League footballer. He's an international. He's coming to the end now, but for a League One player, he's up there. His experience can't be faulted. It can't be challenged, and his ability can't be challenged.
No,
it's what he should be doing, really. But you like to see him start, perhaps.
Oh yeah. So I put a tweet out the other day which said, "I wish he could play 90 minutes." Because he came on I was at Barnsley. He came on at Barnsley and he changed the game when he came on at half time. Again, I don't know if you saw that game or were there or whatever, but he changed it at half time. And obviously a rare half time sub from Phil Parkinson, and he changed the game. But somebody replied to me, and it stopped me in my tracks. They said if he could play for 90 minutes, he probably wouldn't be at Wrexham, would he? He would probably be playing in the He'd probably be playing in the Championship still, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we're probably lucky that he can't play. We're probably lucky he can't play 90 minutes, or we wouldn't have him at all. So would you like to see him? I mean, the times he has started, he's not had much. It's weird. He's not had much impact. I don't think he's got the legs anymore.
No. I think we do. I think that's always been the case since he joined. We knew what his role was, and we accepted that.
Yeah. We did try it. We have tried him a couple of times, though. I was away at Bradford when we were that season in League Two. We started him, and he had no impact that day. Now that might not have been his fault because the team weren't particularly good that day either. And then he got an injury not too far afterwards. So I think we've only ever started him about twice. So I think I think we'd have liked him. We'd have liked to been able to squeeze 90 minutes out of him, but I don't think it's there, is it?
No, but we'll take what he's delivering so far. And that Wigan game, I really enjoyed that. I thought Wigan were very impressive.
Good side, aren't they?
Yeah, the best I've seen there for a while.
Okay.
I mean, certainly enough. It took a while for us to get going. I think they were well organised and they were in control for most of that first half, if I remember rightly. And usually this season, I've seen Wrexham not be under too much pressure and usually be the dominant team.
Okay.
As a team that's just been promoted,
at home especially,
at home and probably away. It's very rare we're second best. Bristol Rovers, we should have got more from that.
Yeah.
The feedback from Barnsley, I didn't go. I haven't seen much of it. Is that we should have done better.
Yeah, we just had a 20. Barnsley was unusual because we had a 20-minute spell where we fell off a cliff, and it was just like disastrous, wasn't it? If you watch the highlights, there's bodies on the floor everywhere. And it's just really bad. But for the other 70 minutes, we were sort of really good, especially in the second half when he took Palmer off and brought Fletcher on. We were knocking at the door all game. We just couldn't get the goal early enough. If we'd have got that goal just after half time, we'd have won that game, definitely. We had all the momentum. They were not a good side, surprisingly, believe it or not. They weren't very good at all. They just had 2 chances and took them both.
And like I said, to be newly promoted and still, like I said, be well in these games and controlling most of these games is what's been impressive to me. And I saw that from Wycombe. I knew we were going to finish in the top half from day one.
Right.
I felt we were well equipped. I felt we were strong enough. I had no concerns about not staying up, and I always felt we'd be in the top half.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd ever be in trouble of relegation. The question for me was, I would have been delighted if you'd have offered me halfway at the start of the season. I'd have probably taken it. But then over those next sort of 4, 5, 6 games, apart from Birmingham, it became clear that actually we can compete at this level, didn't it?
Exactly,
and we weren't getting blown out, apart Birmingham, obviously, but they're going to blow out multiple teams over the season when they get it together. So no, I think that's been the nice thing about this first half of the season is we're looking at it going, we're more than comfortable here, aren't we?
Yeah, like I said, we're guaranteed to finish in the top 4. I said it's the top 4, then a bit of a gap, I think. You say there's going to be a surge from teams below. Yeah. The Stockport are still lurking around, but it's nice for us to be of a breathing space from them. But again, the Bolton game, was it the second match, Bolton away?
Yes.
We deserve the points. We've gone there, and I was there at that game. I've been to many away games, but I went to Bolton. And again, we were in it. We weren't out of our depth. And that's what I knew early on we were going to do well. Yeah,
so I was at that game as well. I echo thoughts. My only concern, if concern might not be the right word, the caveat, the little asterisk after that was that I was in my head was just trying to manage my own expectations. It's early in the season though, so if we'd have gone away to Bolton in February or March, would we have still got a draw? But remember it was early doors, so we didn't know. We were learning about how Wrexham would do, weren't we? But in my head, that's what I was thinking. That was the little asterisk but it's early, so don't get excited. There'll be a different side. I actually predict Bolton to come second, so at the moment they're not there, are they? But again, don't be surprised. They'll come, these big sides.
Yeah, and I think again, going to a stadium like that and playing a club like Bolton, who are on the face of a massive club. Yeah, it was nice to be amongst them, and I think you probably get carried away seeing how competitive we are with these big teams, these established teams. We've got these impressive stadiums, good support. The Reading match as well impressed me. I expected a much better performance from Reading. We brushed them upside. We dominated them.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the game I had a similar feeling was when we were at Charlton. When we were at Charlton away, And like you get to the Valley, and it is one of those, it's an ex-Premiership ground, isn't it? And I was stood there, and like it was like, whoa, it hits home, doesn't it? How far you've come from rather than standing outside a stadium at Ebbsfleet or wherever, pick one. We're at Charlton, and then we had a good performance until the last couple of minutes, sadly, didn't we? And obviously threw a win away with a late penalty. But I had that same feeling you had at Bolton. I think I had at Charlton.
Yeah. But again, we've salvaged a few points later on, so I think we're up in that regard.
Yeah, we've definitely got credit in the bank. The problem is are the footballing gods going to even it out over the second half of the season, Carl? Because that's what we don't want, isn't it?
Well, like I said, we've had a few go against us. Probably we should have done better. But again, the consistency is still impressive.
Yeah, I think that's what, I don't think Parkinson's built a team here and a culture that I don't think, because the characters are so good, I'll be surprised if if it fell off a cliff. If we went 6 to 10 games without picking up points, I don't think that would happen because of his experience and because of the character. I think that's what he's done, is basically he's built a team that can pretty much always get win at home. And then I think he's quite happy if he goes away and gets a draw, isn't he? If he can get average 2 points a game, I think he knows he's going to be there or thereabouts, aren't we?
Yeah, and as I said, his 1,000th game at the weekend.
Yeah.
Peterborough, Darren Ferguson. Would he get in today's team? Would you have him starting?
Who, Darren?
Yeah.
In his prime, do you mean, or as he is now?
well, either. I reckon he can still turn it around. No, in his prime, of course. I reckon he was some player, wasn't he?
In his prime, he was. Football isn't all about pace, is it? And he was never blessed with pace. He had a proper football in mind, didn't he? And I look at somebody like, I don't want to do anybody a discredit here, but you look at what Matty James does in the middle of that park for us. And Darren Ferguson was similar, but better probably passer forward than Matty James is. He had better vision and passing, I think. So I think in his prime, he would have been quite comfortable in this side. And Parky would have loved him about 27, 28 with a lot of experience, but still a little bit of his legs. I think Parky would have loved it.
1,000th game. And it's, Mark Griffiths did an article in the Leader. Very interesting article. And the stats are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He's clearly, the success he's had. And you think of it, 4 seasons now. Every year challenging for the title. He's only the 35th manager to have 1,000 games in the Football League.
Yeah.
And he's ranked, I think, 16th in terms of wins, I believe, or something like that.
Right.
For a manager that wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and I think he's took a while to win everyone over, and he may still have critics.
Yes. Yeah. I think he still has got critics because he chooses to play, what should we call it, effective, efficient, attritional football rather than tiki-taka football, doesn't he? So that's just the way it is. We have to accept it, don't we? We have to learn to live with it. But what do people enjoy? People enjoy watching Wrexham win. And what do we do more often than not? We win, don't we?
Yeah. Not always pretty, but it's efficient. Again, he's built that team that keeps organised. And it does grind teams down. Yeah. Eventually, so many late winners, you kind of know we're going to come on top. You kind of feel confident we're going to get back in games, certainly at home. But it's so well organised.
But that's not new, though, is it? We've been doing that pretty much since season 1, if you remember, when he came in. So that isn't a new trait. We've done that a lot. We've had to do it a lot. So it's the players that have been here for 2 or 3 seasons, that's ingrained into them, obviously, isn't it? Never give up. A bit like, I don't want to talk much Premier League for you, but like I remember Alex Ferguson's sides used to be like that, didn't they? You know, that Man United side he had. Yeah. They were like that. They never gave up. Keep going. But you never know what's going to happen, and I think that's what Wrexham do more often than not.
And he must be going down now as the greatest manager in Wrexham's history. You go back to the John Neils and the Mel Suttons and Brian Flynn's. As they were saying in this article, the stats stack up against them all.
Yeah.
And I think what the team's done is win ratio is all the wins in a calendar year. I think he holds the record for. He seems to be taking all these records now.
Yeah. it's hard to compare them because they all had their own challenges, didn't they?
Yeah.
This is where Flinney never had the money that or relative amounts of money that Parky's got, and previous managers to that didn't. So it's hard to directly compare them. But what you have to look at is, for the time, how good were they? And I don't think there's any doubt about it. If he gets us promoted again, I don't think it's even a comparison that they should have a statue of him or a mural or whatever you want. But my manager growing up was Flinney. I don't know who yours was, Carl, but mine was Flinney, really. So I grew up with Flinney.
Yeah, through the 90s, yeah.
And so for me, that's the nostalgia part of me says, oh, I enjoyed that because that's what I was going to watch when I was a kid. But we weren't winning a lot in those days, were we? We weren't winning league titles, and we had the odd cup win here and there.
Established club.
That's but that's all we were. We'd have a Welsh Cup run, a bit of European football, and we were comfortable in the league more often than not. Whereas Parky's at the other end, collecting silverware, isn't he? So it's hard. It's really hard to sort of compare them. But on paper, I don't think it's close anymore. Probably.
Yeah. Well, you talk about European football. It's the only thing this is missing.
Yeah, and it might not be for long.
Yeah.
It might not be for long. If we get this Welsh Cup thing all sorted again, then we will be. We might be experiencing it, Carl.
We'll be in with a chance, I think.
Yeah.
And who knows if they resurrect the Super League or something, we might get an invitation.
Well, we'll get it via the Welsh Cup. That is the idea, isn't it? That's why they're doing it. Yeah. That's why they're doing it. And I don't know if you saw the clip that somebody put out. I think the Cardiff chairman had given an update saying that they've all signed up to the agreement to get this Welsh Cup thing reinvigorated. And I think it's in the hands of UEFA now. It's up to UEFA. If UEFA give it the go-ahead, we'll be in the Welsh Cup. If we win this Welsh Cup, we'll be in Europe again.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing to happen. It will, like you said, it will revitalise it. It will create interest, and it give these clubs, these Welsh clubs, an opportunity to get back into Europe on a regular basis. And they do so much for Welsh football as well. We've seen the national team do so well recently. Is that coming to an end? That golden period?
Oh, do you not think Bellamy's about to kickstart it?
I like great appointments, I think. Yeah. And he started off well. Yeah.
So yeah, does it not feel like he's probably about to take it up again? Potentially.
After a bit of a lull and a bit of a decline, a bit of a rough spell. It could be, you're right, it could kickstart it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's an exciting individual.
Yeah, I think you should be excited about it. So
But so the next game is Birmingham.
Shrewsbury. You're going ahead. Got the Thursdays mixed up.
The reason I say that is because I can't make that one, but I can make Birmingham. So my next game is going to be Birmingham.
Next game is Birmingham.
Yeah. Because I'll be mornings, and it's 2 weeks today, isn't it? Tuesday's a week today. And I can't make it.
Tuesday's a week, Birmingham's too, yeah.
There's some big games coming up, isn't there? There's some big teams there.
Yeah, I'm excited about both of them for different reasons. Although I would hate us to go to Shrewsbury and lose because they're such a bad side, aren't they? If we go there and don't get all 3 points, I think that would be that would feel a bit of a letdown, don't you think?
Well, it always will, won't it? They always will when you're playing a heated, hated, and bitter rival.
I mean, that most of the time they're ploughing fields. They're not training, are they? So, if we can't turn up and beat them, what help have we got? But no, I'm confident we will, though. I was there last time we beat them in the cup. We didn't play well and we snatched a 1-0 win. And I'm just hoping we've got perhaps a nice, fresh, shiny new striker to go and take there would be lovely, wouldn't it? And notch the winner.
You would think so. You would think that's coming. It's all that's been talked about is the striker. We've mentioned it again. It's the hot subject online. I'm just disappointed. I think, can we get the best of what we got? When you think of these players, Marriott, Fletcher, Mullin, Palmer, Fowl.
Yeah, no, I get it.
There's enough.
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree. I think there is more in there we could unlock if we if we use them in perhaps use them more often or use them in a different way. I agree. But in reality, are we just building up to Birmingham? Is that basically what we're excited about now in the next 2 or 3 weeks? Is that the one?
They're the biggest clubs that come here for years.
Yeah,
I think so. Is this for 15 years or so, or in league matches, not cup, in league?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think definitely in league match. I'd have to go back through all our fixtures just in case there was somebody that's escaped my memory. But I think that game's going to tell us a lot. This is the key for me because when you lose away, you go, oh, it's away, don't you? You allow for that. But at home, under the lights. I think it'll be really interesting to see how we compete with them because, they are a mega side, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's what you want to see. We were kind of outclassed.
Yeah.
At their place, and you want to see us respond now.
Yeah.
And you'd like to think that we're going to do that. That's sometimes when we get disappointed, when it can be a bit lackluster. And a bit, because again, too overcautious. But that's just the way we play. It's a grinding down sort of tactic, isn't it?
I don't think we play too many sides that on paper are like light years ahead of us, aren't they? They've got ex-Premier League players and stuff, and Scottish League winners and all that. And a £15 million striker. So we don't play teams that good so often, do we? So to be fair. But it'll be interesting at home just to see if we can make a better fist of it and maybe even get a result.
I think that's what you want, isn't it? That's the least you ask for, and you can't really complain if you give everything.
And we wouldn't complain, would we? Yeah, if we had a proper ding dong with them, like we used to with more recently the Stockport games and the Notts County games. Yeah. Some of them were ding dong games. Basketball games. A 3-2. If you lose 3-2 and it's an amazing game. You're not disappointed going out, are you?
No. And one more thing. What happened? Apparently, there's a ticketing fiasco erupting.
Do
you know about it all? I think it's sort of exaggerated. Fans unhappy the tickets are put on sale for 3 games out at the same time.
Yeah. So we talked about this last night, actually, on the podcast. Yeah. So what the club have decided to do now is to put batches of 3 games at a time on sale, haven't they? And the first ones went on sale right after Christmas. The first batch, didn't it? Went right after Christmas, which I was critical about when we were talking about it on the podcast because, right after Christmas, you're basically saying to people, you've kind of got to outlay for, either pick one or you've got to outlay after Christmas. Yeah. It's just bad timing, that was, I think. It was just, we're a working class town.
From nowhere, to surprise people.
Yeah, that's it.
At least if they had people the opportunity to prepare and save and get prepared to buy the tickets.
Yeah, that was part of the problem, was that it came out of nowhere. It's right after Christmas, so the vast majority of locals have not necessarily got the funds to go and buy 3 tickets straight after Christmas, have they? Especially if there's more than one. If you're a family of 4, Carl, that's a lot of money in it to have to outlay. Or you've got to disappoint people, which is always the thing. And I thought it was just a bit. It just wasn't great timing, was it? It was really disappointing. That left a sour taste in the mouth. But it seems like they're going to do it for the rest of the season as well. So we'll have to see how it goes, won't we? And see whether people buy them or not. But the problem we've created, of course, is we did another thing as well. So we told everybody to buy these tickets from 10 o'clock in the morning. And then what we said was by 5 o'clock, they're on general sale, right? So we haven't given people very long to buy the tickets. So if you couldn't afford them on the day, they've gone on general sale. And of course, what we now know, because we're being told, is the Birmingham fans have bought tickets in the Kop for that game. So if that kicks off in there, we've got a problem, haven't we?
Which it could well do.
If it's one of those games, where it's nasty and there's lots of hatred amongst the fans and lots of chanting or you've got one idiot who stands up in the cop and cheers. Anything could happen then, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got no real. We've played them a few times over the years. We've had our moments. There's no real rivalry there, apart from this season where we're competing, for promotion. So it shouldn't be too bad-tempered. But again, people pissed. People get,
Correct.
Who knows what could happen.
Yeah, that's the concern. That's the concern. And there's families in that cop, isn't there? That's that's the thing. And it's all right. People saying, no, it's all right. It'll be stewarded. But have you ever seen a steward do anything to they won't say boo to a goose, most of them, will they? So I think that's going to be very interesting to see what's going on. But I think it's upset a lot of fans. People are still talking about it now. I don't think it's the way they should have done it. I think they should have carried on doing it game by game, giving people that rest in between to recover and let their bank accounts recover. Because we are a working class town, and our fans predominantly who turn up at the racecourse, predominantly, not all of them, are working class people. So that's the way I would have liked to have done it. If I was in a meeting and that was presented to me and somebody said we're going to do it in batches of 3, I'd have gone, I'm not having that. I think you should do it the other way. But it doesn't matter what me and you think, because somebody else has made that decision, haven't they?
Well, these are the type of decisions they do make that upset people, and it's like that because of the money they invested, what they're trying to create as a business, it brings in funds quickly as well.
Yeah, I get that. Cash flow is important in a football club. I understand. I totally get that. But I don't think Wrexham are short of cash. Yeah. So I don't really think that putting 3 games on sale will generate such sufficient funds that'll be the difference between us going and buying a £3 million striker or not. Let's be honest. It's not going to make a difference, is it?
No, but as I did, they do things like this now and again.
Yeah,
it makes sense. But it comes from a business perspective where they're trying to capitalize on the interest and obviously recoup what they're putting in and try and create something that looks sustainable.
But this one just struck me as a decision made by somebody that didn't understand Wrexham people and didn't understand British football. Because what other clubs are doing that? I haven't heard of any. I don't know if you have. So correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard of any other League One clubs doing anything like that. So it's somebody trying to be clever, but actually all it's done is get everybody's back up, hasn't it? And I just that's what I think the disappointing thing is. We're paying some people lots and lots of money to make good decisions, and this seems like this and the fan zone ticketing. Remember that? Which obviously they've obviously reined back now after Ryan turned up and saw the big holes in the seating. It felt to me like another one, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a reason, and they'll come out and tell us eventually. But
they didn't need to charge extra for that. They could put that on for us, to whoever wants to go there before the match to enjoy. They could have done that free of charge. Yeah, there's no need to do that.
Carl, I went in it. There's no way. It was worth the £10 because you were still having to buy food and buy drinks, even when you were in there. So it's great that there was a marquee. It's great there was a bit of music, but you can get that at the Mice Gwyn for nothing.
Of course, yeah.
You get that at the Turf for nothing.
Yeah.
So who are you trying to kid here? And then they came out and said, "Oh, we should have called it hospitality." Well, what hospitality do you go to where you then have to pay extra for your food and stuff? So it wasn't that. They dropped a clanger from the start, and then they tried to cover it up, if that's the right word, or try and put a spin on it. Yeah, try to put a positive spin on it. And then in the end, obviously, they've relented and give us the story that 4 walls are paying to cover it and all that. But,
Well, no, they backtracked, haven't they? When they saw the heat, they've backtracked. And that again, that's sometimes 2 worlds colliding in some ways.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll tell you. Can I just try and find a tweet that somebody wrote just to read out to you? Because it's relevant to what we've been saying. So for people who follow Tim at Fearless in Devotion on Twitter, he wrote he copy and pasted an article from their newsletter this week. Have you read it?
No, I haven't. No.
Right. So this article was written. I won't mention who it is, just so I don't want him to get any hate, because he's already got a bit of hate about it. So the article was written talking about this ticketing issue, right? But somebody who, again, I won't mention because I don't want him to get any hassle, had replied to this tweet, and I just thought it was a brilliant reply. So just let me find it, because I think it's very apt. Because Tim tweets so much, it takes a second to find it, doesn't it? Oh, I'm nearly there. Right. So, it's a brilliant tweet. Go and read it. Check the Fearless in Devotion thing. This is what somebody wrote. Unfortunately, it's starting to feel like we are customers and not fans. No thought or care for the working class supporters. I refer you to the original mission statement. I think it says item number 2, to reinforce the values, traditions, and legacy of this community. And then underneath he's put, this is not being fulfilled. So I thought that was, that was quite apt, that we should be using that mission statement as a checks and balance for any decisions we make, shouldn't we? That's what businesses do, don't they? Your workplace probably have some core values, and then in theory, every time they change something drastic, they go, does this affect our core values? No. Right. So this is good to do. And if they look at it and go, yes, well, actually, it contradicts that. Let's rework it. And that's the disappointing element. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? Nobody's died. Fortunately, it's not like that. But it's just disappointing as fans that you feel like the article feels like it's all about how the fans are losing some connection to the club. Actually, older fans especially. So I'd encourage everybody to go and read it and have a look and put their own thoughts on it.
Yeah. I just think that's an unfortunate sort of, result of what's happened.
Growth.
Yeah, you can't have everything. If you want the success we're having, it's going to come at a slight cost. But how much of a cost? Is there a balance? I think they are sticking to these values and their mission statement really well, what they're doing for the community, how they try to embrace the fans. There's just some decisions that are not really going down well. And it is a balancing act, I think.
Yeah. It's nobody said it was going to be easy, but then they pay these people fantastic amounts of money. Yeah. Their job is to bridge. Just another. Let's just look at another thing. So the person who I suspect has come in and made that decision has got a major role at the club, and as the Fearless in Devotion article says, that person has never addressed us since he's been taken office. Where's his introduction video? Where's his meet the fans? Where's his, we've not had any of that. So we won't dwell on it because we don't want to sound like we're moaning too much, do we? But there are there's a very small little bell going off, just going, well, we're just making some silly decisions at the moment. Let's get them all back on track and get everyone focusing on the football.
I think that's always happened, and it will continue to happen. 1 or 2 a season that will cause a backlash.
Yeah, but like I got on the bus to. What was the first game we played after that decision? Was it Barnsley where we were away? I got on the bus to Barnsley, and this was all anybody was talking about. And then I got a message off somebody who was on a different bus, and he said that's all they were talking about was this ticketing thing. So, it has irked some fans, haven't it? Doesn't. If I'm lucky, Carl, I've got season tickets, so it doesn't affect me. But what I am aware, like you will be aware, is that there are fans who've got 2, 3, 4 family members who have to scrap around for tickets, and they're having to, they feel obliged that they have to find the money to get 2 or 3 games at once, rather than having that. Get one, then get another one, and then get another one. And that's the disappointment. It's just a little disappointment in it. That's all.
Okay, yeah, and hopefully there won't be too many more, and we can focus on the positives. Flying, Matthew, absolutely flying. It's looking brilliant. Thanks for coming on, mate.
You're welcome.
I said it would be a quick half an hour, and we failed as usual. But that's the way it goes when we're talking about Wrexham.
It's all right.
Everything that's going on. Great season so far. Let's hope there's more to come. Matt Jones, thank you very much, mate, and we'll do it again.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. Thank you, bud.